So, although Amazon has a bunch of downsides, one of the biggest upsides is the fact that you could actually get data on every single thing that you would want to know before actually purchasing a product. And if you know what you're doing, you can actually make informed buying decisions before you buy any item and sell it on Amazon.com. So the biggest thing with Amazon is that you're actually given the data about everything that happens with all items previous to when you're buying it. You know things like the sales rank of the item, how much competition's on the item, what the buy box is, who's holding the buy box, how many units a month are selling of an item. You're given all of the data that you would need to make an informed buying decision before you actually purchase a product. This is really cool because you can actually decide whether or not you think an item is a good one to purchase, whether you think there's opportunity, how much room you have before you most likely would have to go break even. You can make a ton of informed decisions and know that data before actually purchasing items for Amazon FBA. But the problem with this is you actually need a tool that will give you this information and you need to learn how to read it. So we're gonna jump inside my computer and I'm gonna show you exactly how to read my favorite tool for Amazon FBA product research that'll allow you to see which items that are worth purchasing, what pieces of data you wanna actually be looking at, and everything you need to know before making an informed purchase to buy a product and sell it for more on Amazon FBA. So now that we're inside my computer, I pulled up a couple of different listings that we can look at and determine and show you exactly what we're looking at on our favorite software, BuyBot Pro, to determine whether an item is good or bad to purchase for Amazon FBA. So if we scroll down here, and we're gonna be ignoring all of the numbers when it comes to these products and strictly just looking at what should we be looking at in BuyBot Pro's charts to know whether an item is safe to buy, not safe to buy, or definitely should not be buying it. So the first thing that we see here is we can actually see multiple things. First of all, the orange that we're looking at, that is showing that Amazon is on the listing. And we know that if Amazon's on the listing, there's more stuff that we need to look at before making an informed buying decision that way. For example, when this is all orange like this, we really need to be aware of who's holding the buy box. And if Amazon's holding the buy box a bunch of times, which in this case it is, we know we probably shouldn't be buying this item. Additionally, something we're looking at is the sales rank right here. So we can see the sales rank is anywhere from between 2, 3, dropping down all the way to 1,000, which means this item actually sells a lot, but it's most likely because Amazon is selling it, but it's still good info to know. And then the third thing that we can see down here is the offer count. I actually turned down the review count and the rating, and the reason being is it's extra things that you don't really need to be looking at. And the thing is, the review count is always going to go up. They're not really going to be deleting reviews all the time. So seeing that go up is just irrelevant information that you're not really going to want to look at. And then the cool part is BuyBot Pro actually gives us more information. That's why we like this software so much, where we can see different things like the BSR alone. We could also see the Amazon price average, the FBA price on average, just multiple different views of the same software, in addition to all the information we need in terms of numbers. But we're leaving numbers out for this video, just teaching you how to read the charts to make a decision of whether or not you should be purchasing an item or you shouldn't be. So now we're gonna jump inside another listing, and if you guys recognize this listing and you got kind of scammed by this company, I'm sorry, but you probably made a bad decision because you should have. I don't know if there was a way to know. I was not involved in this, but basically like this company actually ripped off a lot of Amazon sellers and telling them they were getting exclusivity and then just sold it to a bunch of sellers. But the big thing here is that you can see that this listing is actually heavily third party, and this one is way better than a lot of them. And the offer count's actually not that high on this listing, which is good, but if you guys know the brand, you know what I'm talking about. But look, what we can see here now is that this is a third-party buy box listing, and the buy box is actually staying at a stable price point. Additionally, the lowest FBA price is this is something that a lot of you guys don't realize, is that the lowest new price or lowest FBA price is a lot of times lower than the buy box, because a lot of sellers tank the price and they don't obtain the buy box. So never be the first person to have your repricer set to constantly just undercut the buy box, because you're ruining this for everybody when you do that, and you're not going to end up ever making more money when you use this strategy. Additionally, we can see down here that the offer count is actually on a steady decline. So this price should go up based on supply and demand, but definitely stay away from this brand. This is just an example. Something else that's cool is we look at the sales heat map to determine how much the product is actually selling in certain times. So we can see in the past 90 days, it went through like heavy points of like selling a lot and the rank drops. You can see all these things. These are the important pieces of information that we need to look at to make a decision. You know, is the rank going down? Is the rank going up? Is the price going up? Is more people hopping on the listing? Using these tools as an all-in-one is the best way to get all this info and determine whether or not you need to buy this item, shouldn't buy this item, etc. And then the final example is a listing that I'm actually not sure because I haven't checked beforehand, but this is a third party. Now looking at it, this is a third party FBA listing, and the price is like way up right now. And the rank has gone up too, but the price has gone up a lot as well. Additionally, you can see that there's a lot of new sellers hopping on, so the price probably will dip back down. Think supply and demand. More people selling, price is going to go down, etc. But this is the data that you need to be reading to determine whether or not you're going to buy products, and this is how you can know. You know, if you had some type of price point at like $1 for this item, you know you have a lot of room for the price to fluctuate before you would have to go break even based off data. If you have something like it's $2.50 to buy it, then obviously your price point is really tight and you might not want to, knowing that there's more sellers coming on. See what I mean here? This is like the most info that you can get before making a buying decision, and the only thing that we can't see is what those charts are going to do tomorrow. But you can make informed decisions looking at these things beforehand and to determine what is like the trend, what is going to happen, etc. Also, I like BuyBot because it gives us average information points down here, and we can see the price average changing and stuff like that. It tells us everything that we need to know to make a decision whether or not this is a good item to buy or this is not so good of an item to buy. So all in all, being able to read these charts and determine all of this information before we actually purchase the item is the best part about the Amazon FBA wholesale, online arbitrage, even retail arbitrage business model, because we can determine whether or not an item is good to buy, not just based off of how we feel, but based off of real data, real math, real numbers, and make a decision of whether or not we have a good chance of profiting off an item, a good chance of breaking even, or a really good chance of losing money. But the biggest thing here is that you need to make sure that you're reading this data properly, and the only way you're going to get good at reading this data is by looking at charts over and over again and buying items. So spend your time on sourcing and don't waste time on other pieces of this business, because that's the most important way that you can grow your business and make money with Amazon FBA in the long term. So that's it for this video about why we use BuyBot Pro to source our items and why it's my favorite tool inside of Amazon FBA to determine whether or not these are good items to buy or not so good items to buy. I hope you guys enjoyed, and thank you for your business.